Sudevi.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Welcome to Shri Radha Vino Bihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupan Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Pati Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Harinama Sankirtana ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. Something interesting happened yesterday. Someone came to see me. I got a phone call from the gate guard. And he's like, I came to see Kishori Mohan from Gopinath Bhavan. We met before, somewhere Banki Bihari, this or that. And I was like, what? I didn't really recognize him. But he's like, yes, I came to see you. And then the gate guard realized something, and I realized something too. I guess he said, yes, you're doing kirtan. Your wife also doing kirtan. And then we realized that he had seen us on Facebook.
Sweet.
But I don't remember having met him. He was very nice. But he was speaking to me in very quick Hindi, and I didn't understand. And the gate guard said, you have to speak slowly. So, okay. So we will begin with Mangalacharan.
Jayo.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttappada Kamalam. It can be found on page 1 of this book. Or
Jiva Pavana Prabhu has posted it.
Jiva Pavana Prabhu has posted it.
You'll find it, the first comment in the thread. Look for Jiva Pavana Prabhu, and the Mangalacharana is there.
Excuse me.
Oh my goodness.
It's important.
Śrīmad-Bhaktivedānta
सत्यचरित्राय स्वश्रितानां च पालने जीवदुःखे सदताय श्रीनाम प्रेमदायिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती नामिने श्रीवैष्णवारवी देवी दयिताय कृपाभये कृष्ण सम्बन्ध विज्ञान दयिने ब्रह्मणे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वल प्रेमभ्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौर करुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दिनपालिने रूपानुगम्भिरुद्धापसिद्धान्तद्वन्द्वहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसम्बोधे पदम्बुजाय नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनायिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगमनायते गौराविर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्टा सजनप्रिया वैष्णवः सर्वभौमश्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यवदान्ते गौरद्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकन्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतोपङ्गो मम मन्दं मतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्वत्पदम्बोजो राधामदनमोहर दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमः श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्रीराधा श्रीरगोविन्ददेव प्रेष्ठानिभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमन्त्रसरसारम्भी वंशिवन्तततस्थितः हर्षन्तेऽनुस्मरैर्गोपी गोपीनाथश्रीस्तुनः वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिदम् जय श्री कृष्ण Amritaswadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Hare Nam Hare Nam Hare Nam Hare Malam Kalo Nasyeva 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 Gati Ramyata Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. We don't have it yet. Do you need me to put that? I can just turn on the slide from the top
It's
right.
working now.
Oh, okay. But if you slide from the top right down, then you can just hit Wi-Fi and it will come on, off of Wi-Fi.
Anyway, it's okay, but it.
Okay.
Should I give you a. We were out.
An hour later.
Okay. So we'll begin with Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. And that's on page 359.
Haribol.
So it starts with Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. 359.
Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman.
Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman.
O Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Charana Kamala Bhajaman.
Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Charana Kamala Bhajaman.
O Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman.
Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman.
O Guru जिसको मिलते हैं अहो भाग्यों से, ओ हरि भक्त के दर्शन, ओ श्री गुरु चरण कमल भजमन, ओ गुरु चरण कमल भजमन, ओ गुरु चरण कमल भजमन, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Guruvarga ki jai, Guru Parampara ki jai. Ohe Vaishnava Thakur, page 39 in our songbook, or if you don't have a songbook or the Gaudiya Kirtan app, scroll to the most recent post of Jiva Pavana Prabhu in the comment section of the thread, Jiva Pavana, and there you will find the bhajan with its translation, followed by commentaries of our acharyas. Ohe Vaishnava Thakura, Doyaro Sagaro, Edase Karuna Kori.
Vaishnava Thakura, Doyaro Sagaro, Edase Karuna Kori.
Doyaro Sagaro, Edase Karuna Kori. কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো তোমারও শক্তি আছে আমি তো গঙ্গা কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি ধাই তো কাছে কাছে ও হে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর বিলাসে করুণা বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর ও প্রভু কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো প্রভু কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো ও বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর কি Page 47, Young Kalirupa Sharira Nadharata. Sorry. Yang Kalirupa Sharira Nadharata.
Yang Kalirupa Sharira Nadharata.
O Yang Kalirupa Sharira Nadharata. Tanraja prema mahariti utarita. O Gona Prabhata Mukha Gosvāmī Prabhu ki jai. Can I turn that down a little bit?
Yeah.
Is it hot for you?
No.
Okay, I'll just turn it on to you.
Turn it down.
Thank you. Now we will call for the mercy of Śrī Nityananda Prabhu. Śrī Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai, page 60. 60. And sir.
Oh.
Thank you. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Jai Purushottam Shachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai. Gaurangera Dutipada Jardhana Sampada, page 74. Gaurangero Dutipada Jardhana Sampada Harinama Tua Aneka Swarupa. Okay. That is page 180. And if you do not have this songbook, then you can go to your Gauriya Kirtan app. If you don't have that, then we have Jiva Pavana Prabhu, and he posts the bhajan in the comment section of the thread. So just scroll to his most recent post, and there you will find what you are searching for. Harinama Tuva Aneka Swarupa. Harinama Tuva Aneka Swarupa. Harinama Tuva Aneka Swarupa. Harinama Okay, I've got a question for you. Because this bhajan is saying, within Krishna's transcendental holy names, Harinam, Aneka Swarup, everything is there. Unlimited forms, unlimited pastimes, everything is present within Krishna's holy name. So my question is, when you hear the name Arishta Shatana, which pastime manifests? What do you think when you hear Arishta Shatana? And I'm waiting to see who gets that one right. That is the pastime which led to the manifestation of which holy place in all of Braj Mandal? And when I mention the name Śrī Madhusudana, which pastime comes to mind? And what holy place manifested from that? Śrī Madhusudana. Hint, there's a stick involved. So, whoever gets it right, the first one and the second one, you will please Srila Gurudev and our Gaudiya Vaishnavacharyas immensely. And you get 10 burfis and 10 samosas each.
Can I?
No, not you, Sudevi. Any other Sudevi in there? There's like 100 of them. You're welcome. I've learned everything I know from this Sudevi. She does all the studying, she tells all the katha, then I listen, I receive it as Hari Katha, and then I repeat it. Shravanam, Kirtanam.
I'm sorry, I'm feeling a little weak today, so I'm not singing, but I'm here playing kartos. I'm here.
We went through a bag that was in storage full of old dusty winter clothes, and it had a little effect. But no worries. Did anyone get it right?
I don't see any answers yet.
Ooh, they're not ready for it yet, because it's not really class time yet. We are waiting for the answers.
Jiva Pavana Prabhu, Radhakun, Bull Demon.
Hari Bol, Jiva Pavana Prabhu Ki Jai.
And then Madhusudan.
Did anyone write that? Madhusudan.
I'll give another hint. Come on, you got to give a hint.
I only gave the hint of stick.
Oh, Devaki got killer of the demon Aristasura.
Very good, Devaki. Ki Jai.
Jai.
But the pastime of Radha Kund and Shama Kund manifesting was in relation to the killing of Aristasura.
Yes, that's why Jiva Pavana Prabhu wrote Radhakun, Bull Demon.
Okay, but Madhusudan. We know that Madhusudan means the killer of the Madhu demon in one sense, but in Braj, what pastime manifests? Alright, now it's boys versus the girls. 50 points to whatever side gets it right first.
Madhu Mangal, I'm chasing Madhusudan away.
Oh my god, Sudevi gets so competitive when it comes to... You should see us in New Braj when Nanda Gopal Prabhu would do the... he would actually have these quizzes, and it would be like multiple choice answers, although maybe he didn't realize it, but they would have the ladies versus the men, and they would be like, no, Kishori Mohan's not allowed to answer, and Sudevi would be there, and then they would give an extra half point to the guys, and Sudevi would be like, no, that's not fair. She's very competitive. You don't want to start a war with Sudevi. She will win.
Nārāyaṇa Ashram is posting Prem Sarovar.
Mahārāja Prabhu Ki Jai.
But Jiva Pavana Prabhu also wrote Chasing Away the Bee.
Very good. Madhu Mangal, chasing away the bumblebee with the stick. And then he said, I have chased Madhusudan far away and he will never return. And from that, tears of transcendental ecstasy manifested in separation from Srimati Radhika.
We haven't been to Prem Sarovar.
We have?
We did?
Yes, don't you remember that beautiful, beautiful time?
Jiva Pavana Prabhu wrote Radha's ecstasy and separation.
Yes, and then Krishna witnessing that, from both of their ecstasies manifested this transcendental Prem Sarovar, the lake of divine transcendental Prem, divine love. Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Oh, then
Those are long notes, yeah.
I'm still going to sing Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. It's page 362.
Please forgive me, dear Vaishnavas. I don't have very much strength today, so I'm not singing, but I'm here and I'm playing heartless. Sorry.
Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, 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 Bolo Varshane Vali ki jai, jai jai, Bolo Varshane Vali ki jai, Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, Thakurani ki jai, Hari Pyari ki jai, Thakurani ki jai, Hari Pyari ki jai, Vrishabhanu Dulari ki jai, jai jai, Vrishabhanu Dulari ki jai, jai jai, Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, Gaurangi ki jai, Premangi ki jai, Gaurangi ki jai, Premangi ki jai, Brajaraj Kumari ki jai, jai jai, Brajaraj Kumari ki jai, jai jai, Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, Brajarani ki jai, Brajdevi ki jai, Brajarani ki jai, Brajdevi ki jai, Rahavaramandavali ki jai, jai jai, Rahavaramandavali ki jai, jai jai, Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, Giridhari ki jai, Varavari ki jai, Giridhari ki jai, Varavari ki jai, Bolo Kunja Bihari ki jai, jai jai, Bolo Kunja Bihari ki jai, jai jai, Vinoda Bihari ki jai, jai jai, Radha Vinoda Bihari ki jai, jai jai, Bolo Ramana Bihari ki jai, jai jai, Bolo Ramana Bihari ki jai, jai jai, Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, Bolo Varshane Vali ki jai, jai jai, Bolo Varshane Vali ki jai, jai jai, Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki 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 jai, Vrishabhanu Dulari ki jai, jai jai, Vrishabhanu Dulari ki jai, jai jai, Bolo Radhe Radhe Radhe, jai 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 Shri Radhe, 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 Radhe Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe We have come to that time again. Page.
290.
And I'm remembering this verse today. I don't know what else I will forget later. What's on page 290?
Damodarāṣṭakam.
And why are we singing Damodarāṣṭakam?
Because we're still doing the study from Kartik of Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam.
Śrī Satyavrata ki jai, Śrī Dāmodara ki jai, Radha Vinu Bihari Ju ki jai, ki jai jai jai, Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Shri Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Shalagram Shila ki jai, Laddu Gopal ki jai, Chotta 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 Laddu Gopal ki jai.
Good tune today, right?
290. Namamishwaram Satchidanandarupam Lasatkundaram Gokule Vrajama Yashodabhiyo Radhavamahano Param Krishnamadyam Radha Damodara Ju ki jai, Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam ki jai. Hare Krishna. What page is that? 5. Excuse me. Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Chanda Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Gurudev ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Rūpānuga Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nidai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari. That's how you know when you have a good kartal player, when you can end the kirtan at the same time, like that.
Sorry I failed you today.
No failure. Everything good. I've bound my chadar inside the strap of the mridanga. Gurve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad-Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedānta Swamine Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandava Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishna Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashati Shri Śrīmad, Shri Bhaktivedānta, Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And the same thousands of Dandava Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishna Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashati Shri Śrīmad, Shri Bhaktivedānta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada, and to all of our Rūpānuga Gauriya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas past, present, and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. Radhe 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 Shyam.
Radhe Shyam. Excuse me. So yesterday, we left on a cliffhanger. We were speaking about Bhagavad-Gita. Krishna gave so many different instructions according to the different qualifications of persons, different levels of impressions and different levels of spiritual merits, accumulated spiritual merits within different individuals. Not everyone is at the same place in their spiritual journey. Some are just beginning. Some have gone very far forward. Some may be taking off from a place which appears to be just beginning, but they're actually catching up to where they left off. Have you ever noticed that? Where some apparently new devotee suddenly flies past you like a rocket. And you're like, wait a second, I've been a devotee for 20 years. How did he do that? He's only been around for 2 years. And so fast, shooting past. So there's different levels of evolution of spiritual consciousness according to the individuals. Srila Bhaktivedānta Mahārāja calls it subjective evolution of consciousness. And in that subjective evolution of consciousness, it is individual. So it's very difficult to know where anyone is really at. In many previous lifetimes, we ended with Krishna telling Arjuna in this verse, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma, shachvach chantim nigacchatim, kamteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashyati. O Arjuna, you should declare boldly to the world that my devotee will never perish. Why? Because there is no loss or diminution. It means it doesn't become less when one develops bhakti sukriti. In the material world, it is said, you cannot take anything with you. Whatever you have accumulated in your life, every penny, every micro portion of any cent you've accumulated in interest, any hair on your head, there is nothing that we can accumulate in this material world that we can take with us. Nothing physical. But we can take with us to our next lives our impressions. And also our dukritis, and sukritis. There's material sukritis and spiritual sukritis, and they're very different. No amount of material sukriti can give one the qualification for the attainment of transcendental loving service to Krishna. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitamati janma koti shukritayan alabhyate. It's not possible. No amount of doing good things in this material world related to material things in this world can give one the qualification for bhakti. The root qualification for bhakti or devotion to Krishna is the intense, greedy desire to have it, and that can only be awakened in the association of those persons who actually have it. Therefore it is said, bhakti sanjataya bhakta. Bhakti is awakened in the association of other devotees. Krishna bhakti janmamul hoy sadhu sangha. The root cause of the awakening of the inclination to serve Krishna is the association of Krishna's pure devotees. So we can carry with us from body to body, through the subtle body, as it is transmigrating, carrying the soul within it from one to the next. We can carry with us our desires, the karmas, which are resulting from the expression of those desires and the desire for other things, and whatever previous impressions we have accumulated and our worldly good or negative merits. This is what we can carry with us. But Krishna is telling Arjuna, if there's any gain on the path of devotion, even a little bit, that can never be destroyed because it is transcendental. So any progress, a little progress on the path can save one from the greatest danger. In his commentaries, in his purports on this verse, Srila Prabhupada explains what is the greatest danger. The greatest danger is to become attracted to the attachments and the allurements of this world, to the point where we will re-enter into this cycle of repeated birth, disease, old age, and death, known as samsara. Samsara, or as some might say, samsara. So samsara means the cyclical repetition of birth, disease, old age, and death in this particular universe, cycling through 8,400,000 different species of life. In other universes, maybe more. Since Brahma is also more intelligent and much more powerful, and there are many other dimensions, there may be other species of life, more than what we have here. But in this one particular universe, it is said that there are 8,400,000 different species of life that we can cycle through. And then eventually we come back to the human form of life, and we receive an amazing opportunity. We have a choice within the human form of life to stay in samsara or to get out. So Krishna told Arjuna, if you follow this path, you should tell everyone that even a little progress on this path will save one from the greatest danger, which is repetition of birth, disease, old age, and death. If one surrenders unto me, even understanding that my name, my form, my qualities, my pastimes are all transcendental, then they will never have to take birth again in this material world. And our goal is not to not take birth again. The goal of bhakti is not to not take birth again. The goal of bhakti is only to love and please Krishna. But this is a natural side effect, natural result. So, in transcendental considerations, whatever we have developed in terms of bhakti, this can never be lost. And then the question might come up, what about Vaishnava aparad? It still cannot be lost, but it can be covered or stunted for who knows how long. And only by seeking the mercy of those Vaishnavas that we have offended can that again become uncovered. You can see in the history of Jagai and Madai how many simple activities they were doing. It is uncountable. And yet, by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, Akhanda Guru Tattva, the original unbroken Guru Tattva, from which all other gurus manifest in essence, by his mercy, those personalities gave up all of their simple activities and immediately became awakened in their humility and pure devotion. And so weeping and serving the Vaishnavas and chanting the holy names in a mood of surrender to Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna. These two were able to basically undo all of those simple activities by surrendering to Krishna. If one truly surrenders to Krishna, then he says, Aham tvang sarva papebhyo moksha. I will free you from all of your simple reactions. And if you surrender to me exclusively, then you don't need to worry for anything. You don't need to worry for protection, for maintenance, or anything. I personally will take care of everything. This is really Shraddha, faith. That just by surrendering unto Krishna, automatically everything is taken care of. There's nothing else to worry about, nothing else to do. Krishna promises this for one who surrenders exclusively unto me, 100%. So, when you take this conception, Krishna keeps saying, Mam Ekam, Ananya. So Mam Ekam means only me. Ananya means without any other. Ekantika, one-pointed, exclusivity. Mam eva ye prapadyante, who surrenders unto me. Again and again and again, Krishna is telling this. So there's something in that. And then he's bringing us to what is the mood of surrender. And so he carried us to the most beautiful. Sometimes we think that the last verse or the last two verses is the culmination. But it's not necessarily always that way, as is proven by Srimad-Bhagavatam. What is the culmination of Srimad-Bhagavatam? You've got the first 9 cantos and the last 2, 11 and 12. But the culmination is in the 10th. You know, like this special jam in the middle. And it's covered, protected on 2 sides, but the sweetness is in the center. So in this Śrī Bhagavad-Gita, the sweetness comes when Krishna says, Pratijani priyosime. He's talking about who can become dear to me. How? Manmana bhav. Manmana, always absorbing one's mind in thinking of me, meditating on me, obsessing on me. And you know, it's not wrong for Krishna to say such a thing because that is his rightful claim. He is the only personality who can claim that. Everyone should meditate on me. I am the source of everything. I am the Supreme Lord of everything. Even there is a verse in Bhagavad-Gita, which I just discovered recently, where Krishna is saying, I am the source of everything. I am also the master of the souls, all jivas, and also all other manifestations of myself. In other words, Paramatma and Brahm. So he is the final, the last word in the absolute. Brahm, Paramatma, Bhagavan. He is also the source of this. In fact, Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita, Brahmanohi pratishta aham. He uses this word aham quite a lot. It means I am. And the fact that he's using the word I am is implying that there's personality there. And he's saying, I am the source of this imperishable Brahma Jyoti. So when you see this and you hear this in connection with Sri Ishopanishad and other scriptures, in Sri Ishopanishad, the devotee is praying, oh my Lord, please remove your dazzling effulgence so that I can see you. We also know about Sri Narasimhadev Bhagavan. He also has a form, half man, half lion, extremely ferocious, for the purpose of protecting his devotee, Prahlad. But he was so effulgent, it is said that Hiranyakashipu, feeling himself invincible, with his shield and his sword, jumped into that blazing effulgence and could not be seen by anyone. In other words, he entered into that Brahmajyoti, and he was completely encapsulated by that. But still there's a personality behind it. So Krishna is telling, if you want to know me, if you want to understand me as I am in truth, then you can only do it through undivided love and devotion. And how is that awakened? Always absorb your mind in thinking exclusively of me. Absorb your mind in thinking exclusively of me. And so in this verse, Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta, Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja could not help himself but to reference Braja Lila, always bringing one's mind and heart toward the sweet katha, the sweet glories of Krishna in Vrindavan. Our Srila Gurudev would always express and feel that if he did not speak about Krishna in Vrindavan, then all of the other discussion would be in essence useless. The purpose of all of it is to bring us to that, to hearing about Krishna. But if he were not to be able to speak about Krishna, he would feel that all of that tattva gyan, all of that knowledge, what's the purpose? So he would always bring us to that. What is the culmination of Bhagavad-Gita? Generally, we understand it is bringing one to the point of surrender to Krishna. It's talking about Krishna, the person, Jiva, the individual, soul, eternal, the person, and the relationship between them. But how is that a relationship expressed? Then you will find that in Srimad-Bhagavatam. Sudevi, will you please share what Srila Gurudev would tell about Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru?
You want me to tell that story?
Yes.
So in this connection, Srila Gurudev would tell one very sweet katha. He said one day Krishna was going out for cow grazing, and as he was going out, all the Brajvasis were coming to see him. Gurudev said even the mosquitoes, even the blind were coming to have this darshan of Krishna going out in the morning. Gurudev said just a few days before, one newly married girl came to Vrindavan, and since her childhood she had been wondering how Krishna looked when he was going out grazing the cows. And she had so much eagerness in her heart to see him. Srila Gurudev said it may or may not be that Krishna wants to see us. He doesn't mind. But if someone has greed, if someone really wants to see him, then Krishna also wants to see that person. So that day, Krishna woke up and he wanted to see this newly married gopi. So Srila Gurudev explains that as Krishna was coming toward her house, he began to play the flute. And he said it seemed as if the nectar of his heart was coming out through the holes of the flute and inundating all of Vrindavan. At that time, that newly married gopi started running out of her house to go and have darshan of Krishna. As she was going out, her mother-in-law and sister-in-law, they said to her, "Hey, what are you doing? Where do you think you're going?" And she said, "I'm going where you're going. I'm going to see Krishna." And they said, "No, you can't. There is a black snake out there. And if that snake bites you..." Should I come sit here?
Yes, please. Sorry. I should have invited you to do that initially.
Excuse me, I wasn't camera ready for my tilak.
She's ready.
"If that snake bites you, then the poison will enter and it will never leave." And she began fighting with the mother-in-law and sister-in-law. But as soon as they heard Krishna coming close and playing his flute, immediately the mother-in-law and sister-in-law, they ran out of that house to go and see Krishna and have his darshan. That gopi, she realized, I can't go out and actually see him. So she went to the door, and Gurudev said she was looking out in such a way that she could see out, but no one could see in. And she began to wait and look for Krishna. Just when Krishna was coming close to her house, he took the tail of that calf and twisted it. Even in India now, you can see that if anyone wants a cow to go a particular way, they twist its tail a little bit and it goes whatever way they want. So Gurudev said Krishna twisted his tail, the calf's tail, and it turned toward that gopi's door as if it had been trained to do so. Running toward that house, it burst open the door, and Krishna took the opportunity to run after that calf. So the door bursted open, and that gopi was standing there, and Krishna was standing in front of her. Gurudev said he took his most beautiful form as Krishna Shama Sundar Tribangalalit, standing in a threefold bended form, showing her his most beautiful pose. Once Srila Gurudev was telling this Leela, and he said, we all know our good pose. Before we go out in the day, we have our good side, or we have a look that we know, oh, I look good today. He said, so Krishna knows that this is his most beautiful pose. When he's holding his flute, his chest becomes very broad and his waist becomes very thin. He's so crooked and so beautiful. So he took this pose and stood in front of that gopi, and she was completely shocked. Krishna took his flute and he, like this, clicked her under the chin with his flute and took his calf and walked away. And Srila Gurudev said 20 minutes had gone by. All of the dust that was risen from the cows had already settled, but that gopi was still standing there and thinking of Krishna. Why? Man manabhav. Krishna stole her mind and her heart and took it with him. She was quite useless without it. The mother-in-law, the sister-in-law said, see, I told you. Now that black snake, Shama Sundar, has bitten you, and that poison has entered. Now you are like ruined. What you need is to be kept busy. So she gave her a churning rod and told her to go and to churn yogurt to make butter. So that gopi took the churning rod, and instead of putting it in the pot of butter, in the pot of yogurt, she put it in a pot of mustard seed. And Gurudev said she would begin to churn, and then she would stop and become stunned again, remembering the beauty of Krishna and thinking, oh, he touched me. And then she would start again. Gurudev said she was only singing, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. So she was making a horrible sound with those mustard seeds. So the sister-in-law came and said, I'm going to tell my mother. The mother-in-law came. She said, oh, you need to be kept really engaged. So in one hand they put a baby. In another hand they put a rope. And on her head they put 2 pots. So she was completely engaged. go to the well and collect water. So she went to collect water, walking to that well, thinking about the beauty and how Krishna touched her, how Krishna did like that with his flute. She was completely gone. She went to that well, put the baby down, put the pots down, got the rope, and began to tie the rope around what she thought was the pot, but tied it around the baby's waist. And then she began to lower the baby into the well. Immediately all the gopis that were there stopped. They grabbed the baby and said, hey, what's wrong with you? What happened to you? Has a ghost entered you? Bhut means a ghost, so bhut. And those gopis, Gurudev said, that knew, they could recognize what had happened. They began to laugh amongst each other and said, it's not a bhut, it's Nanda Kaputra. It means it's the son of Nanda Mahārāja. It's not a ghost, but it's the son of Nanda Baba. So they began to laugh. Srila Gurudev said, this is man mana bhav. Also, he gave the example of the fruit seller and how she had this do or die mood just by hearing about Krishna. She began to think of him. She began to sing of his glory, so much so that Krishna became attracted to her. He stole her mind, even without her ever seeing him. Just through hearing that Hari Katha, hearing about the beauty of Krishna, attracted Krishna to her. Because a mood arose in her heart, like he said, that greed entered her heart. No matter what kind of sukriti, no matter what pious deeds you've done, it doesn't matter, it doesn't buy Krishna. What can purchase him? Greed. Greed to love him, to serve his most beloved. And Krishna becomes attracted. So Gurudev used this example in Man Mana Bhav. If you read his little Bhagavad-Gita pamphlet, you'll find this story there so sweetly. Gurudev gives so many examples of how Krishna steals the heart. So,
Thank you. Sometimes I try to tell that katha, but it just doesn't work. The jnani part, all of the knowledge and the head part takes over, and I just can't represent it the way Sudevi represents it. I remember the first time I heard her tell it, and we were living in Fiji way back in the day, and I was managing a big farm, and it was like the first class she was going to give, and I came down from the mountain from farming and working hard, and all of the workers had come up. We all sang bhajans together, and then Sudevi gave this class, and it was flowing for like an hour and a half. And I was listening, and this katha came up in it and everything, and I was just completely astounded. And she said, how was it? What did you think? And I said, it sounded just like Gurudev. And she said, now mind you, this was before Gurudev told us to travel and preach. This was 1998. And she said, yeah, I memorized the entire Bhagavad-Gita, Essence of Bhagavad-Gita pamphlet. I said, that's why it sounded like Gurudev. But when he would tell us, he would be so absorbed in remembering these sweet pastimes of Krishna. When he would speak about how Krishna was going to the forest in the morning with his friends and his cows, how the gopis would speak, that those eyes that have not seen this beautiful scene of Krishna going to the forest in the morning, those eyes are completely useless and they should be set on fire. Gurudev would become so absorbed in sweet moods of remembering these beautiful pastimes, especially this one. He would get so excited talking about how she was stunned like a stone pillar just there for so long, completely immersed and amazed and smitten and awestruck by just having seen Krishna and that whole interaction, and that her heart and mind were completely gone. So I was so happy that Sudevi was willing to grace us by telling us that
Don't
katha.
say it like that.
Okay, I'm so happy that Sudevi came forward and told it so that we could hear it with that mood, which I wouldn't be able to represent. Srila Gurudev said a special concession has been made for ladies. It's simply by cooking and cleaning and remembering, chanting Krishna's names, remembering the moods. He said, by that, all can manifest. He said, but for the men, we need all of this gyan, all of this heady stuff. So, hopefully one day, Srila Gurudev will bless me with the attraction and the simplicity to be able to move on the path of spontaneous attraction to Krishna's pastimes. So now we will continue with Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. What is Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam? This is a manifestation from the heart of Satyavrata Muni. Our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta, Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, and our Guru Varga have explained that he didn't just sit down and write the whole Ashtakam, that it manifested in his heart over millions of years as he himself was progressing spiritually. And so one would manifest and then another would manifest as his desire was deepening through his sadhana, through his bhajan. And so he manifested through his own heart what he witnessed in this prayer known as Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. And Ved Vyas, he took that prayer and added it to Śrī Padma Purana. Within this particular literature, we have the commentary of Śrī Sanātana Gosvāmī, followed by the translation of that commentary by our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Kishori Goswami Maharaj, also infused with his own commentary, followed by the commentary of our Srila Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Maharaj. So, again, needless to say, but I'm going to say it again, it is a compilation of amazing, transcendental nectar. It's a treasure house with ever-deepening levels of treasure with so many beautiful gems which have been left for us to uncover and to investigate. Many years ago, I remember we were in Govardhan and Srila Gurudev went through Manashiksha of Raghunath Das Goswami in like 2 or 3 evenings, just quickly going through it. And then he said, now that I have showed you and told you the right mood, the proper mood, how to enter, now you can go home to your private place and you can read it with that mood, with that understanding. And he would always tell us, whatever you have collected during the month of Kartik, whatever jewels you have collected, now you can go back to your home. And there, in the privacy of your own home, you can open that treasure and investigate all of the jewels that you have received. So the Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam is a collection of beautiful jewels, all together making so many beautiful treasures. And so we will pray to the personalities who have manifested these commentaries and this Ashtakam in the words of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami. By Raga Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatnat Kapayana Mam Anudipshamandam Kripam Vidir Yabaradu Kuduki Sanatanastam Prabhum Ashrayami. Begging in the dust of their lotus feet, that may even a particle of their moods, which are present within these pages, manifest itself within our hearts. Now we're continuing with our Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja's commentary on verse 4 of Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. Varam deva moksham na mokshavadin va na chanyam vrineham vareshadapiham idam teva purnato gopalavanam sadami manosya virashtam kimanye namami shwaram sachidanandarupam lasat kundalam gokule brajamanam. So, the other day we were hearing about mukti, varam deva moksham, na mokshavadimva. So Satyavrata Muni is now telling, because something is awakening in his heart. some spontaneous attraction to Bal Gopal. Idam te vapurnata vapu, the form of Bala Gopal. Idam te vapurnat Gopala Balam. He's attracted to this baby Gopal form of Krishna. And when one has that kind of attraction, and it is genuine, then the desire for liberation is rendered insignificant. Means freedom from material suffering or the dualities of this material world. Not only that, namokshavadim. Also, I don't want the end result of liberation, which is residence in the Vaikuntha planets. I'm not seeking after that either. Just this beautiful darshan of Bala Gopal should always remain within my heart. So some spontaneous attraction is awakening within his heart. One second, I hear a very soft tampura in the background. Done. So, Satyavrata Muni is not even asking for a boon related to the utmost limit of moksha or residence in Vaikuntha. Śrī Satyavrata Muni continues. Natcha anyam. Furthermore, I have no desire to obtain any other benediction. By the word anya, other, in this phrase, he is implying, I do not even want the result of performing the 9 kinds of bhakti mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam. Shravana kirtana vishnu smaranam padasevanam archanam bandhanam dasyam sakyam atmanivedanam. In the path of Vaidhi Marg, means based on following rules and regulations of scriptures, because that's what you're supposed to do. He doesn't even want that. His response astonishes Krishna, who then asks, but the 9-fold system of devotional service has been abundantly praised in the scriptures, yet you do not want to accept even that? Then what is your desire? Satyavrata Muni offers his prayer. My only desire is that your form as little Bala Gopal manifest in my heart forever. That small cowherd boy who is afraid of his mother. Namamishwaram Sachidanam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajmanam Yashoda Bhiyo Luka Ladhavamanam Param Vrishtamatyantato Drutya Gopriya. Krishna is afraid. That personality whom fear itself is afraid of and death itself is afraid of is running in fear of his mother Yashoda as she's chasing him with a stick. Real fear. It's not like he's pretending, I'm God and now, oh, my mother's chasing me, let me pretend to be afraid. Her vatsalya prem, her love and affection is so great that he's completely controlled and takes that mood that I am your son and now you're chasing me to chastise me. He really became afraid. She finally caught hold of his hand and raised her stick, and he began crying and rubbing his eyes with his 2 lotus hands. And because he had kajal on his eyes, he was smearing it, and it became all black like this, and it was like Ganga and Jamuna were flowing. You could see streaks coming down his face, like a raccoon. He had black eyes here. And he was like, no mother, like this. And she felt really bad because he was panting, his heart was beating quick, and he was breathing really heavily, so much so, Mother Yashoda felt bad, so she put her stick down. But she knew, I still have to discipline him because he's my son, and it is my duty as his mother to teach him properly, not to do these nonsense, naughty things. If I don't teach him, then he will be spoiled, and he will create so many problems in this world, and also, who will love him if he's like that? I want that people will love him. So, I must teach him properly, so that he will be an upstanding citizen, and then everyone will have affection for him. So her thinking is like this, out of motherly affection. So Satyavrata Muni is saying, that small cowherd boy who was afraid of his mother and who was looking here and there with fearful, suspicious eyes. In the phrase, Vareshadapiha, Vara Ishat Api Iha. The word Iha means, Sudevi?
Yeah?
What does Iha mean?
Here and now.
Very good. Or in this place. Thus the sage is praying, may your form as a little cowherd boy, which is present here in Vrindavan, appear within my heart. I have no need for any other benediction besides this. So he's discounting everything else. Not this, not that, not this, not that. I only want this darshan in my heart. The form of Balagopal will only appear in one's heart as a result of prema bhakti. So we heard that beautiful quote from Srila Prabhupada the other day, that unless one is 100% pure, they won't be able to have access to the transcendental form and pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. There's a requirement, 100% purity. Otherwise, it won't be possible. So under the guidance of Sri Guru, by hearing about the pastimes of Krishna, by serving Krishna's devotees, and by following the instructions of Guru, by taking shelter of Harinam Prabhu, gradually, Cheto Darpanamarjanam, we can clean the mirror of the heart, and when that is fully clean, we will be able to recognize our true selves. We will also then be able to understand our relationship with Bhagavan and also recognize who our Ishtadev is. And from that, then our love and affection will be able to properly and fully manifest. So, he will only appear in one's heart as a result of prema bhakti. Sadhakas who perform shravan, kirtan, and smaran of Sri Krishna, that means hearing, chanting, or glorifying, and remembering of Krishna, they do not care if they go to heaven or to hell. This is a very high position. Devotees aren't asking for anything like this, that I want to go to heaven. Mahaprabhu is saying, na dhanam, I don't want wealth. Na janam, I don't want followers. Na sundarim kavitam, I don't want all beautiful praise and poetry coming toward me. What does he want? Mama janmini janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir ahoiti kitvaye. May it be that birth after birth, janmani janmanishware, I may have unprecedented, spontaneous, unmotivated bhakti or love and devotion for you. And in the last verse, he says, in essence, whatever situation you place me in, whatever situation you place me in, you can break my heart, you can kick me away. If you want to send me to hell, you can send me there. Whatever is pleasing to you. But this will not change the nature of my love for you. This is the nature of praying. Praying, even though there's every reason for it to break, not only does it not break, but it continues to increase more and more forever. And Bhaktivedānta is saying the same thing. Marobi lakobi jo ichatohar. If you want, you can kill me, or you can protect me. Jo ichatohar means if you want, or as you wish. Icha means desire. Jo ichatohar. But nitya dasatua prati adhikar. My only qualification is that I am your eternal servant, so you can do with me as you like. This is the mood of the devotee. They only want to love and serve Krishna, but whatever situation he puts them in, heaven or hell, for them, it's the same. Because only absorption in Krishna is their only primary concern. So they do not care if they go to heaven or hell. Their only desire is to engage in cultivating prema bhakti under the guidance of Tattvagya Rasika Vaishnavas. Tattvagya means knowing all transcendental truths, and Rasik means full of transcendental nectar. Ras means nectar. So they're absorbed in Krishna's nectarian pastimes constantly. And so as they're speaking is full of tattva siddhanta, but also saturated with the nectar of Krishna's pastimes. Vaishnavas who have realized the absolute truth and who are expert in relishing loving emotions. It is therefore said in Sri Upadeshamrita, verse 8, Tannama rupa charita disukirtananu smrityo kramena rasana manasi niyojya tishtham brajeta lanuragi jananugami kalam nayat akilam ityupadeshasaram. The last line, says iti upadesha saram. Saram means of everything. Iti upadesh. This is the essence of all advice or all instructions. It's the sum total of the essence of all instructions. What is that? Kalam nayad. Kalam nayad means without cessation, forever. 24 hours a day, not 23 hours and 59 minutes and 59 seconds. Constantly, continuously, doing what? In the association of and under the guidance of tat anuragi jan. That means any person whose heart is overflowing with divine love and affection, an eternal associate of the Lord, who has this mood, like the Brajavasis. This is ragatmika bhakti. Specifically in the line of Rupa Goswami, the mood of the maidservants of Srimati Radhika. But in this verse, it is saying, Tad Anuragi Jan, being under their guidance, where? Residing within Vrindavan, Tishtan Braje, within Vrindavan. Residing within Vrindavan can mean physically, but more than that, it means at the feet of that person whose heart is Vrindavan. Then you're really residing in Vrindavan, if you are taking shelter of that person who is carrying Vrindavan and carrying Krishna within their heart. Doing what? 24 hours a day, constantly, under guidance of this kind of person? Tannama, Rupa, Charita, Adi, Sukirtananu. Doing intense kirtan with deep absorption. Sukirtan. Not like we might do kirtan, where we get together and we sing and we like the tune and we're grooving to it and we're like, yeah, that's good. And then, we're looking to see who noticed it. Did you see that? The lick I did on the mridanga, that was cool, wasn't it? And, like Gurudev said, you will only be wondering which ladies are admiring my kirtan and singing like this, or the other way, if the ladies are singing, it can be the other way or any way. And who's dancing? Oh, how can I make them dance? Oh, look how my kirtan is so powerful. I can make so many people dance. This kind of mood might be there. Or so many other things. This is not Sukirtan. That's very light. It's on the surface. Some kind of chanting of the names might be there, but it is not in deep absorption of what? Sukirtan anu. Of what? Remembering. Full absorption within that kirtan of Krishna's names, Nam, Rupa, his forms, Charita, his qualities, Tannam, Rupa, Charita, Adi, and so forth. It means pastimes, Leela. And automatically, while one is doing kirtan of this in deep absorption, what will happen? Smrityo kramena rasana manasi niyoja. Within the mind, within the heart, one will constantly remember smrityo. In sequence, kram, smrityo kramena, rasana manasi niyoja. Rasana means also experiencing this ras, remembering Krishna's beautiful pastimes. So Rupa Goswami says that this is the essence of all advice. To reside under the guidance of an eternal associate of Krishna with the mood saturated in Brajaras, 24 hours a day absorbing oneself in the kirtan of Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes, and always absorbing one's heart and mind in remembering these beautiful and sweet pastimes. This is the essence of all advice. And if Rupa Goswami is giving this as the essence of all advice, and he is the person who has established the inner heart's desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this world, right? Sri Chaitanya manobhishtam stapitam. Stapitam means established. And manobhishta means the abhishta, the desire of the mind or the heart. The inner heart's desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami established in this world. And he is saying the essence of all advice is to do these things. Only by that will one actually attain to the perfection of loving service to Krishna in the wake of the moods of the Brajavasis, especially the maidservants of Srimati Radhika in transcendental Vrindavan. So, Upadeshamrita, verse 8. Excuse me. The Bhakti Sarakas should perform kirtan and smaran, remembrance of Sri Krishna's name, form, character, and pastimes. Thus they should gradually engage their tongues and minds, withdrawing them from absorption in sense objects, which cause aversion to Krishna. Absorption in sense objects cause aversion to Krishna. That's something to consider. That means that to the extent that we're absorbing our minds and our hearts and our attachments in sense objects, to that extent we will actually be going the opposite direction from Krishna. Aversion. Aversion actually means that Krishna will no longer be tasteful to us because we're taking the drugs of this material world, so to speak. Imagine only eating junk food, junk food, junk food. Then when the time for prasadam comes, you will have no hunger, only a stomach ache. But still, the addiction is there. All of that stuff they put inside of it to make you addicted. Monosodium glutamate, loads of sugar, all of the fats and the palm oil and everything else. And we just keep going for that jar of Nutella again and again. And then when the time comes for prasadam, oh, I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry. We've engaged all of our senses in that, and then we become averse. Even though we look at it and we think, no, even just to see it, I get a stomachache. So in this case, if we are absorbing our minds in sense objects, then naturally we become averse to Krishna. So it's always essential to be under the guidance of the pure Vaishnavas, Sri Guru, who help us to cut our attraction to sense objects and instead turn our attention toward serving the transcendental senses of Krishna with love and affection. Residing in Braj Mandal, one should follow in the footsteps of Krishna's associates who have deep attachment for him and fully utilize every moment of their time like this. This is the essence of all teaching. So previously I mentioned Ragatmika. Ragatmika means the eternal associates of Krishna. And that can be also in different relationships. But in terms of Braj, there's Ragatmika, those whose hearts are overflowing with Rag. And so there are Raganuga Bhaktas. And there are Rupanuga Bhaktas. Are all Raganugas Rupanuga? That is a question. Are all Raganugas Rupanugas? Whoever gets the answer right, whoever gets it correct, not you, Sudevi, are all Raganugas Rupanugas?
Really? I can't.
Yes or no? Whoever gets it first gets a
Jiva
bowl of Shrikand.
Prabhu can't answer either.
Ooh, Sudevi said Jiva Pavana Prabhu cannot answer either. Competition. Very good. So, not all Raganugas are Rupanugas. Are all Rupanugas Raganugas? Jiva Pavana put a capital no. Are all Rupanugas Raganugas? Big bowl of rasmalai. Come on.
Kishori, my video isn't working. 1 second.
Jaldi karo.
Is
Quick.
it here? No, it's fine here.
Okay. We're okay? So she's laughing. Okay, so all Rupanugas are Raganugas. Real Rupanugas. Because Raganuga means the followers of the Ragatmika Jan. Ragatmik means in so many different rasas. So there's Sakyaras, Dasyaras, Sakyaras. There's no pure Shantaras in Vrindavan. Dasya, there's not even any pure Dasya. But Dasya Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. So servitude, friendship, parental affection, and beloved. This is Madhurya. Thank you. Rupanugas are Raganugas, but not all Raganugas are Rupanugas. So, those who are following in the wake of the moods of Yashoda Maya, Mother Yashoda, could they be considered Rupanugas in the real sense? Question. It's a yes or no question. Those who are following and serving in the mood of Mother Yashoda, can they be considered Rupanugas in the real and true sense? And now I'm going to ask another question. Those who are following in the wake of the moods of the service that Sri Rupa does in the transcendental realm, serving to Radha and Krishna, are they known as Raganugas? Are they known as Rupanugas? All Rupanuga parrots are Raganuga birds, but not all birds are parrots. Very good. Oh, Sudevi's in there. Okay. So Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja put a lot of energy into explaining these to us, the difference between Raganuga and Rupanuga, so that we don't misunderstand. So he would explain this. What is Rupanuga and what is Raganuga? Yes, all Rupanugas are contained within Ragatmika Bhakti. They are also following this path of Rag, but not all Raganugas are Rupanuga, because Raganuga has many different rasas, but Rupanuga means following the mood of the sadhana that Rupa Goswami does in this plane, and also the seva that Rupa Manjari does in transcendental Vrindavan, serving Radha and Krishna in the groves of Vrindavan. So Rupanuga, there is a general understanding of Rupanuga, which can be that anyone who studies the works of Rupa Goswami, they can get some benefit. And that is true, because those who are on that level, Madhurya Ras, can nourish all other rasas. But Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja wanted us to have a very clear understanding of the deep and real meaning of Rupanuga. And the deep and real, refined meaning of Rupanuga is specifically following in the mood, the sadhana that Rupa Goswami showed on the sadhaka level as a practicing devotee. What he did, what he accepted, these moods, how he served. And also those who are directly following him like this, like Jiva Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedānta Swami Maharaj, all of our Rupanuga Guru Varga, coming in the line of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, our Srila Gurudev, our Param Gurudev, Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, you name all of them. So this Rupanuga Bhakti means following the sadhana of Rupa Goswami, as he did here, and Seva Sadhaka Rupena, Siddha Rupena Cha Atra Hi. And also, certainly, as they are serving in their internally conceived spiritual bodies, as they are serving Radha and Krishna in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan, also like that. That is the real and deep meaning of Rupanuga, following under the guidance of Rupa Goswami, or those who are following in the guidance of Sri Rupa Goswami. So Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja wanted us to understand this so that we could differentiate when we're hearing these terms. Because also it is said that even the residents in Vaikuntha, they also have Rag for the Lord. And so those who are following in the wake of their moods of loving affection for the Lord in Vaikuntha can also be considered Rag Anuga. So we're not seeking after that. Varam Deva Moksham Na Mokshavadhim. Not moksha and not even Vaikuntha. So what kind of Raganuga? There's so many different kinds of Rag, and so many different kinds of followers of those paths of Rag. We're looking toward Vrindavan. Vrindavan, there's Rag there, Ragatmik, eternal associates of the Lord, and those who are following under their guidance are known as Raganuga, or the guidance of those who are following them. That is Raganuga. And those who are following Rupa Goswami, they will be Raganuga Bhaktas, but specifically, the specific term would be Rupanuga. Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedānta Swami Prabhupada, says, he writes that we are Rupanugas, or followers of Srila Rupa Goswami.
Answer Devaki's question.
So Rupanugas are automatically Raganugas. Yes, but not all Raganugas are automatically Rupanugas. Very good. Wow, she said it before I could say it. So, now that we've got that clear, I hope, Srila Gurudev wanted us to have it clear. That's why he spoke on it so much, especially in those first years that he was traveling. He really clarified it. So, Gurudev just gave us the essence of all advice in this verse from Upadeshamrita text 8, Tannama Rupa Charitari Sikirtananu. Similarly, in Srimad-Bhagavatam 10:47-58, Sri Uddhava says, Eta param tanu prito bhuvigopavadvo govinda eva nikilatmani rudha bhava manchanti yadbhavabhiyo munayo vayamcha kim brahma janma bhirananta katarasasya. The young wives of the Gopas, embodied here on earth, led the topmost lives because they have Mahabhav, or full-blown, selfless love for Sri Govinda, the very soul of all.
I'm afraid this is going to cut out.
Their pure love is sought after by those sages who fear repeated birth and death, as well as by us. What is the use of being born even as Lord Brahma if one does not have any taste for hearing the nectarian descriptions of Sri Hari? So here Uddhava is saying they lead the topmost lives because they have Mahabhav, or full-blown selfless love for Govinda. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also confirms this in that essence of what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. The teachings of Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Matamidam Tatrādaro Naparaha. This is the opinion of Mahaprabhu, and there is nothing beyond it. The second line says, Ramya Kachit Upasana Brajavadu Vargenaya Kalpita. The topmost upasana, or method of worship, means which is pleasing to Krishna, is that of the Brajavadhu, the young wives of the Gopas. Means the gopis' love and affection for Krishna. And Uddhava is confirming they lead the topmost lives because they have complete, full-blown, selfless love for Sri Govinda. And then here in the last line it says, what is the use of being born even as Brahma if one does not have any taste for hearing the nectarian descriptions of Sri Hari? This mood is also confirmed in Srimad-Bhagavatam in the verse, Dharma svanushtita pungsam vishvaksenakatasuya notparyet jariritim shrama eva hi kevalam. All of the endeavors that one undergoes, all of the endeavors, even those on the path of bhakti, Srila Gurudev confirmed, if they do not somehow or other bring about within our heart an attraction, rati, for hearing the glories of Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes, vishvakshena kata, if it does not bring that about within our heart, then it is said, Shrama eva hi kevalam. Can anyone tell me what Shrama eva hi kevalam means? Shrama eva hi kevalam. Yes, you too, Jiva Pavana Prabhu. I'm waiting.
There's a good lag there.
Oh, there's a lag?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, all of the activities, Srila Gurudev explained, even worshipping thousands of Shalagram Shilas and chanting lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of Harinam for thousands of births, if it does not bring about rati, attraction, attachment, for hearing, ha, Jiva Pavana Prabhu ki jai. Shrama eva hi kevala means useless waste of time or hard, useless labor. Means so much hard work can go into something, but what should happen as a result of that? There should be natural, spontaneous attraction for hearing the glories of Krishna. Rati for Vishvakshena Katha, Krishna Katha. This is the proof of one's practice of bhakti, that they will have spontaneous attraction for this. They will be greedy to hear Harikatha from the lips of those persons who are pure in heart, nirmatsar, free from envy. One will be attracted to that and will want to be near that and hear that Krishna Katha. This is symptomatic of someone who is actually progressing on the path of devotion properly. Because it's easy to do all the externals. So many people have Shalagram Shilas and they do their puja in the morning and then all kinds of nonsense activities. And same with chanting. Maybe they're chanting a lot for the purpose of, look at how much I'm chanting. Prabhu, how many rounds are you chanting? You know how many? I'm chanting 64. Guess what? I've chanted 5 lakhs today. I figured out a way to make a shortcut and chant more than Haridas Thakur. So these kinds of ideas manifest also. This is not proof of one's advancement in bhakti, but an undying attraction for hearing of Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes, and serving within those pastimes. This is a proof of progress on the path of bhakti. Yes?
So earlier you were speaking about one-pointed, unmotivated bhakti, and now you're speaking about motivated bhakti. So I'm wondering if you might like to clarify that, because if you don't have a goal, then you can't reach your destination, but if you have a goal, it sounds motivated.
So, we hear this verse, Ahoitiki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Sabai pungsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje. It starts with Sabai pungsam. The supreme occupation for all humanity. It says pungsam, that means humanity. Paro dharma means supreme occupation. Yato bhakti radhokshaje. Should be pure devotion for Krishna. Ahoitiki apratihata. It should be without cessation, that is apratihata, we've already discussed that, and ahoitiki. It means without any cause, causeless. We hear about this, causeless.
Causeless mercy.
No, causeless.
So I'm saying we hear about it.
Yes. So ahoitiki, yayatma suprasidati. If you want to actually attain perfection for yourself and also to make Krishna happy. Yayatma, suprasidati. So both Atmas are there. Krishna, the Supreme Atma, and us also. But ahaitaki, causeless. Srila Bhaktivedānta Bharati Mahārāja explains that it is not that it is causeless. It has no material cause. Material cause means karma mishra bhakti. I am doing this for some material result. That is my cause. But we understand also according to Shastra that there is a cause. What is that cause? The intense greedy desire to have it. That greed must be there. But what is it that they want? It's not for themselves. That's the speciality of bhakti. It has no selfishness in it. Really, it is for Krishna's happiness, for his benefit and his pleasure, and what is favorable for Krishna. And that's why it is said, whether one is in heaven or hell, only the nature of their soul is expressing. It's got nothing to do with where Krishna places me. So what is the cause? If it has a spiritual cause, then it is considered materially causeless. But if it has a material cause, then it cannot be considered a haituki, or causeless. Is that okay?
Yes.
Thank you. It's all in the refinements of the definitions our acharyas give. You think, oh, it's causeless. Well, I'm doing it for a cause, therefore I shouldn't do it because then it won't be bhakti.
Well, especially when you say the word unmotivated.
Yes, unmotivated means no material motivation whatsoever.
Yeah.
But there is a motivation, and that motivation is awakened by the mercy of Krishna in the form of Shri Guru, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhaktilata Bij. Bhaktilata Bij is generally translated as the seed of the creeper of loving devotion to Krishna. But all of our Guru Varga have explained that this means sadhu sangha. And by the association of the pure devotee, what happens in one's heart? What is awakened? The desire, the inclination to serve Krishna is awakened in our heart. In the same way that wood which is placed into fire, what happens? Fire is awakened within that wood. So by that association, this tendency to serve Krishna, or Krishna Seva Vasanam, is awakened in the heart. And so you can say there is no cause, there's no material cause, but there's definitely a spiritual cause. And what is that spiritual cause? The intense, greedy necessity, longing to have that thing, and that is to have Krishna Bhakti Ras Bhav. But what does that mean? To please Krishna, to serve Krishna, to love Krishna, for him, for his happiness, for his pleasure, for his benefit. It's got nothing to do with anything selfish. So, thank you for that question, and the clarification is necessary in those points.
Yeah, just when I hear you say unmotivated, because I remember devotees asking Gurudev this too, so very nice.
Vritrasur, we heard about him the other day, that big demon who was actually a pure devotee but who accepted the curse to become a demon, who it took more than one celestial, or was it 100 celestial years? Anyway, Lord Indra was doing his demigod duty of killing the demons, and that demon was manifesting the nature of his Atma, offering the most beautiful prayers to Krishna at that time, giving so many sweet and beautiful prayers. So he also prays that he may gain the association of the Vaishnavas and cultivate prema bhakti under their guidance. So this is also not materially motivated, because we know that by the association of Vaishnavas, who also have no material motivation, whose hearts are completely pure in loving service to Krishna, that by that association, that kind of mood will awaken in our hearts. So Vritrasura is also praying that he may all gain the association of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Most of the time, every single person who is praying to the Lord, even when a benediction is offered to them, what do they ask him? Please always allow me to associate with your pure devotees. Prahlad Maharaj asked for that. Vritrasura is asking for that. So many, one after the next, always allow me to be in the association of your devotees. What happens in the association of Krishna's pure devotees? Everything happens. Everything. Why? Because Krishna is present there, fully. Not in Vaikuntha, not in the hearts of the yogis, but where? Madbhakta yatra gayanti. Where my devotees are always remembering and glorifying my names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. Tatra tishtami. I reside in that place, he says. And this is also echoed directly in many other scriptures of this world. Even in the Bible, what is it said? Wherever two or more come together in my name, I am present there. Further proof that this is also Vaishnava scripture. So, Vritrasura is praying that he may gain the association of the Vaishnavas and cultivate prema bhakti under their guidance. So after this verse, then we will end for the evening or morning or wherever you are. This is from Srimad-Bhagavatam 6:11-27. First, I'll read what Jiva Bhavana Prabhu wrote. The Buddhist and Mayavadis want to destroy desire. Devotees want to purify desire in the service of Guru Vaishnavas and Radha Krishna. This is Yukta Vairagya. They're not renouncing the thing. Vaishnavas don't renounce or destroy anything. They just try to dovetail everything and utilize it in the service of Krishna. They don't want to get rid of that thing. They don't get rid of desire. I remember once hearing from Srila Gurudev. He was talking about anyone who is a dry jnani. Means really here, dry. He said it's very difficult to turn them into devotees, to bring them to the path of bhakti, love and devotion for Krishna, because they're already so dry. But those whose hearts are saturated in material enjoyment, those who experience the rus of this world, it is possible to dovetail that tendency toward Krishna much more easily. From the place of saturation in the material rasa, it's easier to take that and dovetail it toward the transcendental rasa. And we've seen this in the history of Bilvamangal Thakur. Bilvamangal, he was raised as a very good Vaishnava sadhu and everything. He had very good qualities, but he became attracted to a prostitute. And Bilvamangal one night could not be without this prostitute. He needed to see her, so on a very stormy night, with the river flooded, overflooded, he was swimming across this river with thunder and lightning and raging, roaring river. He took shelter of what he thought was a log, but it happened to be a floating dead body. Finally, he gets to her outside of her courtyard, and he needs to scale the wall, and he thinks it's a vine, but it's actually a snake. And he goes to see her, and she says to him, "What are you doing here in such a terrible storm and everything?" He said, "I couldn't be without you. I had to see you." And she said to him, what did she say? I mean, he had so much intense desire and greed to see her. She said, "If you even gave a little bit, even a small percentage of that energy that you're giving to me, if you gave it to Krishna, to God, to Bhagavan, you would attain perfection in no time." Just that woke him up. Just that. And so from that moment, in fact, the verse glorifying her is placed in the very beginning of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Guru Tattva. She became his guru, giving him this instruction. His Vartma Pradarshika Guru, pointing him in that direction. So he left that place and made a resolution. Yes, I will make endeavor for bhakti, for pure bhakti. Just like that, from the most extreme form of greed and desire for sense gratification, she was able to give him something convincing which flipped his heart and made him run toward the path of bhakti. And it became so strong that the next beautiful lady he saw at the well, he followed her home because he saw and he was attracted. He followed her home. Her husband greeted him at the door because he looked like a sadhu. He had already decided, "I'm going to go to Vrindavan." He looked like a sadhu. So they said, "How can we serve you?" He said, "I want to see your wife alone." So, well, strange request for a sadhu, but okay. Then he goes to see her and he asks her. She said, "How can I serve you?" "Give me your hairpins." Well, traditionally, any woman, especially a wife, a very faithful wife, should not take her hair down in front of any other male other than her husband. So she's thinking, wow, this is a strange request from a sadhu. "Give me your hairpins." So she gave him her hairpins, and immediately his mood was do or die. I cannot have these eyes which are meant for Bhagavad Bhakti distracting me by all of the allurements of this material world, he used those to remove his eyes. He finished his eyes, and then he went wandering toward Vrindavan. But with that conviction, it was so powerful that Krishna himself personally escorted this Bilvamangal to Vrindavan. And during that time when he was being escorted to Vrindavan, he was chanting so many beautiful prayers in glorification of Krishna, because even though he had no material eyes, he had divine eyes. And so what he was glorifying Krishna with became known as Krishna Karnamrita. It means nectar to the ears of Krishna. And Krishna brought him to Vrindavan. So also it is told in the history in Srimad-Bhagavatam, Kapila Dev himself is telling Devahuti, his mother, that same attachment, that same attraction that we have to things of this world, when dovetailed toward the pure Vaishnavas, when dovetailed toward the path of bhakti, opens wide the doors to liberation. What we have in this world, when we dovetail it toward Krishna bhakti, this can bring us all perfection, and quickly. So Srila Gurudev was drawing a contrast between the two, from a very dry, stone-like heart. How can it absorb that bhakti ras? But for someone who's already experiencing all of this ras, that can be dovetailed toward the service of Krishna. And really that is the meaning of yukta vairagya, utilizing everything, whatever is in my vicinity, in the service of Krishna. At this moment, I'm remembering what Srila Prabhupada was telling on the disappearance day of his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. He was talking about utilizing everything in the service of Krishna. And he said, for instance, and he tapped the microphone, he said, this is dead matter, but because now it is being utilized in the service of Krishna, it has become spiritualized. And dovetailing, this is a mundane material thing, you can say, but it is now being utilized in seva. So in that sense, it gains its value. Where the same thing, when utilized for all mundane things, will maybe have negative value. So, now we're going to hear what Vritrasura prayed for. Mamotama shloka janeshu sakyam sansara chakre brahmatasva karmabhi tvanmayayatmatmajadara gehesh vasakta chittasya nanata bhuyat. That's from Srimad-Bhagavatam 6:11-27. O Master of my life, I am not seeking liberation. Again, Vaishnavas, I don't want liberation. I am not concerned if I must repeatedly roam about in this vicious circle of birth and death as a result of my actions. However, wherever I go, and in whichever species I take birth, please grant me the loving friendship of your dear devotees. For in their association, I can cultivate prema bhakti. My Lord, I only pray that I will not have to mingle with those who, bewildered by your illusory potency, are always attached to their bodies, homes, children, families, and so on. Let that sink in for a little while. He's praying, please, whatever situation I'm in, grant me the loving friendship of your dear devotees, for in their association I can cultivate prema bhakti. Bhaktivedānta Thakur also said the same thing in that bhajan, Manasa Deva Geho, Joki Chumor, there, Kita Janmaha Jatatuvadas, Bahir Mukha Brahmanahi More Ash. Even if I have to be born in the body of a germ or a bacteria, it's the most small, Kita Janmaha Jatatuvadas, an insect or anything. Let me be your devotee. Let me be in the house of your devotee so that I can always hear about your glories. I have no desire to become even Lord Brahma if he is absorbed in material things and averse to you. So for us, hearing the prayers of these kinds of devotees, how they don't want anything else, whatever situation comes about according to karma or whatever, okay, let it be, but Let me always associate with your devotees so that I can develop pure love and devotion for you. This is the prayer of all of them. So, on this note, we will end here since we've already gone over time. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
गिरिराज महाराज की जय, हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि गोविंद दामोदर Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
So thank you all so much for giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Srila Gurudev and our Guru Varga. And also, we just want to express that we are indebted to each and every one of you for daily giving us the opportunity to engage in our Guru Seva, which is our life and soul. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Just so you know, very soon, we're going to distribute the blankets, the chadars, which you have helped us to procure so that so many very cold Brajavasis will feel a little bit warmer by your kind affection. So we'll let you know when we're going to do that in advance. Dandavat Pranam. See you tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki
Ki
jai.
jai.
Shachinandana Gaura Hari
Ki jai.